In this video, we will be breaking down a client review session. First off, remember to book them in. This is a step that's massively overlooked by trainers, but a good review session can be the difference between retaining a client for years and years and years versus them dropping off after 8 to 10 weeks. So first step, book the review sessions in. We recommend every 4 to 6 weeks, but it can be largely client dependent. That can be shorter or longer depending on the person. Next up, you're going to have to prep your clients for the review session. Chances are they don't know what one is and they might be a little bit worried about it. So make sure that the client feels super comfortable. Give them all the information they need. Make sure they know that there's nothing scary going to happen. It's a really positive session in terms of progressing towards their goals. And set up the environment so that they can win, so that they feel comfortable, confident, they can be open and honest with you about good things, tough things, and how we're going to move forwards. Now, the review itself, obviously you're going to need some questions. So I'm going to give you some quick fire topics around to ask questions and then some specific questions in each of those topics. Start off with some really general questions about the last 4 to 6 weeks and how it's been going. So ask them what's been going well and get them to open up about all different types of areas. Chances are the client will focus on measures here. Try to lift them out of that area and talk about energy, happiness, sleep, reductions in stress, anything that will help the client see the positive changes. Ask them about benefits as well. Specifically, give me 3 benefits that you've had in the last 4 to 6 weeks. Again, we're trying to get the client to see how valuable this last 4 to 6 weeks has been. And then a final question could be, how can we make this even better? So starting to look now at forward thinking, at progression, at not just resting on what we've got, but moving forwards together. Next up, chances are you're going to do some kind of metrics in your review session, whether that's a body measurement or a body fat measurement or just weight or pictures. Chances are that you started with some kind of metrics at the start of the client's journey, and now you're going to reassess those and see where we are in comparison. So make sure that you do them in the same manner as you did the first time and you deliver it accurately and well and professionally. One little extra thing on metrics, before you take them, ask the client, how do you think these measurements are going to go? What that does is it introduces it to the client comfortably, but it gives them a chance to say, I think it might not have gone so well, or I think it might have gone great. That then allows you to ask a second question, why do you think they might not have gone well, or why do you think they've gone great? The client will be then able to take accountability for their actions in the last 4 to 6 weeks and tell you a lot more about their progress. So it opens up the conversation to not just being a measure, but what actions has the client taken? Use that question. Once their metrics are done, remember to just reflect on it a little bit with the client. How do you feel about those measurements? How do you feel about the results we've had so far? Are you happy? Are you indifferent? Do you not feel so good about it? And then obviously, what are we going to do moving forwards with that? Next up, we're going to dig into some specific areas, and this will help us uncover one of our last sections, which is going to be what are we going to focus on next. So out of 10, we would get the client to grade their sleep, their stress, their nutrition, their exercise progression, things like their motivation, potentially as well, fat loss, muscle gain, any other specifics that the client might be after. Get them to grade it out of 10 and then ask more specific questions around that area to see what they think is going well, what they think is not going so well, and maybe some actions they need to take in that area. What you'll find is some areas are great, they're going really good, and we just need to maintain the actions. Some areas are a little bit out of kilter, it might be a good idea to start to put some focus on those areas. So nearly towards the end now, and we are going to pick some focus areas for us, the coach and the client, to be working on together off the back of this review. We recommend no more than 3 areas. Keep things clear, keep things simple. Try not to overcomplicate, try not to be overwhelming with what the client needs to do next. Remember, the simpler and more clear the actions, the more chance you've got of helping the client to take action. And our last section, but probably the most important one, how happy are they with the service so far? And again, get them to grade this out of 10. Now, we recommend that if it's anything below a 7 or an 8, then you ask the client what we need to do to improve the service, and you make sure that you action that ASAP. If the client doesn't feel like the service is a 9 or a 10, it needs to be improved, or the client will leave. So make sure that you action it straight away as quickly as possible to make sure client satisfaction is there. However, if the client says that their happiness is a 9 or a 10 out of 10, here's the next most important thing to do. Ask them for a referral. If your client is super happy, they're loving the service so far, they're in a great state of gratitude, it's such a good opportunity to gain another consult, another lead, another potential client. So make sure that you ask for a referral at that moment. And that's going to do it, guys, for this short video on breaking down a review session. If you want more detail, head over to the ProFit podcast and subscribe. Dig into this episode because we go into a lot more detail and we show you how to put together an amazing review session. Between now and then, good luck with your reviews, and we'll see you on the next video.